Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host Evan Teague. With me, like always, is Noah Bailey. So we have a ton of stuff to cover this week. Star Wars Celebration just happened. We have some
Yep.
trailers for various things, streaming shakeups, just a bunch of stuff. But we're starting with that Zelda trailer. Oh my goodness! like
Dude.
I'm not one to like usually get emotional at media. Like I didn't cry during Infinity War, or like I didn't there are very few things that like actually make me like get misty eyed in general. That Zelda music is just
Bro.
awe inspiring. On top of the visual, just that when that music kicked in during, oh my goodness, it got me.
Dude, like this trailer would like I was all like after they had that gameplay demonstration, I was like, oh, this is gonna be the greatest thing ever. Dude, this
Mhm.
trailer was like, no, it gets better. And I was just like, what?
He had a broadsword with a shield stuck on it. Like that's so cool.
And it did that. But like
like,
this game is so awesome.
like, like we'd already assumed Ganondorf would be back, but he looks so cool
Looks
now.
epic. Like kind of exactly how you would expect it.
Mhm.
Look, kind of looks like a mix of like Twilight Princess, but a little bit like Ocarina of Time. Like just a
Mhm.
very good like, yeah, you know what Ganondorf looks
Oh
like,
yeah.
and now we'll put him in Breath of the Wild style. Like it's
Mhm.
very, I really like his design a lot,
Yeah.
and he looks more Gerudo than like normal too, which I think is cool.
Mhm.
He like kind of fits the culture more, at least visually.
Right. And like that oh that this trailer, it's only 3 minutes, but they pack so much just
So
cool
much.
stuff, like him falling through a laser drop puzzle and like activating a wingsuit. Like, okay, you can do that. Okay, like
So
is that a thing? Is
cool.
that just like a thing that like slows down a descent? Can you actually like fly? Is it essentially like a late game alternative to the paraglider? I don't, because if so, that sounds
Baby.
cool.
Super cool.
Doing that like moon jumping across those platforms,
Yeah.
like
Which I'm like, yeah, how are they gonna explain that? That was cool. Or like the part where he's got like the giant vehicles, right? Like that was
yes.
insane. I was like, dude, what is
He
that? Like, oh,
Yeah, why can't Link just drive a mech? Sure, or a
right?
giant
Like,
robot. Like,
because there's not enough already in this game. Like, yeah,
mhm.
you know what? Why not? Let's do that.
And it was a very small and like kind of low key moment, but one of my favorite little moments from the trailer was Link on a horse, like pulling a trailer of people like in it. I
Yeah,
wonder
that was
if that's like a side quest where you have to like try to get this group to another place, and like
that's what I was thinking.
I wonder if you have to build the trailer, or if you have to like escort them, and if you escort them too slow, the monsters will attack or whatever. So you can do as
That's
fast as,
what I'm
as fast as you
thinking.
can.
Yeah, like something like that's a very common gaming trope. It's like get the passengers or the civilians to the safety. Watch out for enemies that appear
Mm,
along the way. Like, that could definitely be like a some kind of side quest. But I
mm-hmm.
mean, I'd be down for that in this kind of game.
Yep.
Also, the thing that was crazy, it's like combat, like fighting with other characters. Like that thing was like
Yes.
side, dude. I
Yes.
was like, get excited, let's go. Like, boy, like I'm like, oh my god, like I was losing it, bro. And they got like
Mm-hmm.
the new like champions now,
Yep.
and then oh man, it looks so cool. And like, oh my god. And they got that like Ganon, blue eyes, white dragon, ultimate dragon looking thing. I was just
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Which that's actually, I think that's a reference to the first Zelda game on the NES. Like one of the first bosses is like a Hydra thing. So like I don't know if I don't remember the name, but it has like a it's yeah, like that I'm pretty sure is a one for one like classic enemy in as a boss now. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
This game is gonna be so awesome.
Mm,
Like I know we knew this, but still.
but like but just that sequence of him like on a minecart, and then an enemy minecart like comes in beside him, and they start battling. Like,
Yes, that was so sick.
the
Oh, like
underground dungeon, and that
awesome.
like guy lights on fire and zoom. Like, what is happening?
Like, oh my
Like
god, dude.
I want every single person who stupidly on Twitter and whatever else just tried their hardest to be like, oh, it's not gonna be worth it. It's just
It's a
DLC. It's
glorified
not. It's
DLC. Oh my
like
god, dude.
what?
Eat your heart out.
like
There's
like even
nothing you
after
can
that
say.
last trailer where they showed brand new mechanics, brand new areas, brand new enemies, like so much new stuff, they're like,
Yeah.
it's still just DLC. Are you shut up. Every
No,
single
I
thing is
mean,
different.
no, I mean, it's literally, and the crazy part is, it looks like, yeah, they've got the same world, and they just were like, oh yeah, let's just add another one and all these new content. Like, it's a new game, but the old game's still in there. That doesn't make it DLC. It just means the game's expanded greater than we expected.
Mm-hmm. It's just
It's gonna be so great.
so good. So good. Like it might be honestly like kind of overwhelming just how much stuff is in this game.
And yet, I'm gonna get my 200 hours in.
Yep.
So,
It's gonna be well worth $70.
oh, easy. Oh
Oh.
my gosh. Yeah, this game's gonna be insane. I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna happen.
And we're like right at a month away. I am, yeah, I'm excited.
Yep, yep. That's it. Like, just
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't need them to show anymore. I was already sold even before the last trailer, but like,
I mean, I was sold before the game was even announced. But let's be real.
like back in 2019, we're making a sequel to that game you all like. Yep.
Shut up and take my mic. Oh, it's so awesome.
Mm, okay. Moving on to something else that honestly like really impressed me. The first trailer for The Marvels came out.
Mm.
It looks like a lot of fun. Like, yeah.
It does. I love the concept. The whole, like, yeah, we switch places when we use our power. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's something different enough that I think I will enjoy it, because again, I think that concept alone is going to drive a good enough narrative. At least start. It probably won't last the whole movie, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's enough of a starting concept that's going to make things interesting.
Right.
And I'm excited for it, because I think this had potential not to be super interesting without it. And I think this, plus depending on how things go with Nick Fury and the whole secret invasion thing, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think this could definitely have a lot more potential with that. I'm really excited. Especially I want to see more Monica too, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah, because I was until this trailer came out, I wasn't even thinking about Nick Fury being in this movie. Until this trailer came out, I was fully under the impression that he was gonna die during Secret Invasion because it just felt like that kind of thing where it's like what hit like one last hurrah for him. But either this is a scroll or he doesn't die in Secret Invasion. So either could happen.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it just also just looks really good. Like this, I never personally like watching the trailers of stuff like Ant-Man or even Doctor Strange to an extent. I never like loved the visuals of those trailers, but this movie in particular just looks very visually striking, and it kind of has like that same flair that I feel Guardians does, that I appreciate. Um, so yeah, that alone is a win for me. Um,
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think I like that. It seems like it's kind of going against, like, well, it's interesting because it's like we haven't really seen any of these characters really interact at all,
mhm,
which I think is gonna be kind of amplified with the whole switching thing, because it's like you're not really gonna be able to interact that much if you're doing that a lot. And depending on, like, I know we didn't really see like I mean, we saw like ideas of the conflict, but we don't know exactly what they're getting into.
mhm.
We'll see kind of how this goes, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm optimistic based on I'm more optimistic than what I saw before I saw it.
Yes, I
Basically,
think
because I didn't.
Yeah, I think the trailer makes the movie look more interesting to me than the original Captain Marvel was, because that's a pretty standard superhero movie. Not bad at
Yeah,
all. It's just a
no,
pretty standard movie.
yeah,
Um,
it's not terrible. It's not the worst Marvel movie by any
Heck no,
means, but
not
it's
even
not.
close.
No,
But like,
people forget, man.
if you try to say it's your favorite, I have questions. But I'm
Yeah,
not gonna like argue that it's bad. But this movie looks very interesting, like a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. So, yeah,
mm,
coming out in November. So that's just one more thing to look forward to. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. So they've been kicking around the idea of restructuring HBO Max, maybe like changing it into something else, merging it with Discovery Plus, stitching it all together. They finally went ahead and nailed down the HBO Max and Discovery Plus are merging into one service just called Max.
Max. Sure. It's really whatever.
There are so many reasons that is a stupid idea.
Just keep HBO Max.
Like,
Like or HBO Max plus Discovery. I mean, I don't know. Discovery plus HBO Max. Boom. I mean, what? Come on. I mean,
or like Warner Max or like WB Max or something.
who
But
cares?
there, here's
Like,
a not comprehensive list of every single reason why this is a stupid idea. A, the HBO brand has been around for 50 years and it is
yeah.
expressly associated with high quality content. Sopranos,
Yep.
Game of Thrones, The Wire, like there's just so much stuff on there that is fantastic. The fact that you think that's the problem with HBO Max, you're crazy. Two, the original concept of HBO Max was a place where you can watch everything that HBO has to offer all in one place. Because before HBO Max, they had the HBO channel, they had the HBO streaming service thing where you could watch shows that premiered on HBO but not much outside of that. You go to HBO Go, which was the mobile app, and then like we just need to wrap it all into one thing, HBO Max. Include other, licensed movies, other Warner Brothers stuff, just everything, on
One
one
place.
platform. That makes complete sense. But the thing that's consistent between all three was the HBO branding, HBO Max. That's why it was called Max, because it's all these together, HBO Max. Now it's just Max. Which leads into the third thing. Max is a terrible name for SEO reasons. If you're typing in what to watch on Max, like what's it gonna give you? Like that's not that word. It's a name. Like Max is just a
Yeah.
name. So if you just type in Max, like you know, maximum, like there's just various other ways of saying the word Max. People named Max. It doesn't make sense to me why you would just name something just a word like a super common word, especially since Cinemax is another thing that also has their own streaming service. So
Hmm.
like, it's it's very dumb.
No, I mean, just Max is a terrible idea, and it's like, did you really need to change the name at all? Couldn't you just? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Discovery was like, I don't want HBO in the name or something, or they were like, well, we don't want
What?
Discovery. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, clearly whoever made the decision said, well, you know what? I don't care what we call it as long as we get paid. That was the final
Yep.
decision in the boardroom. This happened. It's
That.
because no one actively was like, yes, this is a good idea.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny how you know just like very shortly after this announcement happened, they also announced a couple of uh, new shows and whatever coming to HBO. Like the Penguin show got like a little teaser, which
Mm.
that looks great. I don't really have a lot to say about it because it's not even close to out yet. So I'm excited, but like it's it. it's gonna be good. Matt Reeves is making it. It's gonna be good. But like the things were like the Max original Penguin releasing in 2024. It's like we're just calling it the Max
Ugh.
originals now. Like,
Yeah.
it's especially okay. Here's another thing that's really dumb about this idea. So, if I'm not mistaken, stuff like the House of the Dragon, which
Mhm.
that's like, that and like Last of Us, other shows that premiere on HBO and then go over to Max, I guess I have to call it now. Like,
Can't even say it with
or
a straight
at the
face. I'm
time
sorry.
they aired on HBO and then went over to HBO Max. You can just say it's an HBO show and people get it. Like, oh, if I didn't catch it on the channel, but I do have the streaming service. I do have the HBO streaming service. I'll just watch it on that. But now, if you say it's an HBO show, a couple of years from now, after that name branding is no longer associated with the streaming service, people might not be able to make the connection that, oh, I could watch The Last of Us on the app I already have, assuming people will
Hmm.
actually continue to pay for it. it doesn't
Yeah.
work. It's dumb. It's a very bad
No,
idea.
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work at all. But whatever, I guess. I don't know. It- yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They went ahead and announced that they'll have three different pay tiers. They'll have the with ads version at $10, the no ads at $16, and the ultimate no ads version at $20.
So wait, what does the ultimate no ads
It's
mean versus just no ads?
4K streaming with up to 4 devices at a time, whereas
Oh man,
no
that's
ads is only HD 2 devices.
only HD.
Yep.
I mean, 4K is like ridiculous, but it's like, I mean, is it worth an extra $4 a month? I don't know
I
about
don't
that.
think so. Like I have a 4K TV, but I don't know if like I don't think I would notice a quality difference. I don't really care about graphics like that. So I think $16, if I were to continue to pay for it, would would, would be fine for me. um, and I guess the discovery part of that is also kind of cool. Like you get your Food Network and your HGTVs and your Teen Moms and whatever else is on there. So there's that. But apparently we're not the only ones that think it's a bad idea because apparently the Warner Brother Discovery's stock dropped 6% after the announcement. So
Yeah, because
yeah.
I mean, again, nobody looked at that and I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? They're just like, all right, we're doing this.
Hmm.
But I think at 6% is kind of a lot. But eh,
Yeah, like they that's probably like I wouldn't be surprised if they had projections where they're like within this margin of error, up or down is a good range. I have a feeling 6 is within that range where like we can get away with this. six
yeah,
percent isn't enough to like really care about what people think about this. But I just don't in the long term. I just don't see this being a good idea. I don't understand why. Like, yeah, it had to have been Discovery not wanting to keep the name for some reason, right?
I mean, that's kind of what I think. I think it was some like, this is a hard line we're making for some reason. It's just like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And it's like, all
Okay,
right.
whatever.
Yeah, it's like they probably like we can't get a deal done without this one condition. They're just like, okay, this is stupid, but whatever. Like,
Okay. Okay. One more bit of news before we get into the big topics. The Mario movie was officially the highest opening for any animated movie of all time.
whoa,
It released on a
say that
Wednesday.
again.
The Mario movie was the highest opening for any animated movie of all time.
Does that sound right? Like
It,
saying that out loud, does that even
no,
sound?
it
Because that
doesn't.
that doesn't sound right at all. I'm
Because you know
like,
what
that can't be true,
the
right?
top was before this came out?
Frozen.
Frozen 2. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Frozen 2. Interesting.
Yeah,
It
Frozen
was
2 made a
definitely
lot more money than the first one. People just didn't talk about it as much, but it was,
really.
yeah, it was,
I feel like the first one was like months of
which
just.
is why the second one made so much, like, as fast. It made like a
That's
billion
true.
in like 2 weeks, and then it just kind of went on from there.
I guess that's fair, but dang. Wait,
Yeah.
okay, so what? Like, talk to me. What are the metrics for this?
So Frozen, I'm kind of exaggerating. It made 2 billion in like a couple of weeks, but
Yeah,
The
but I
Mario
mean,
movie, it made $377.5 million opening from Wednesday to Sunday.
woo. I mean, a couple extra days, but still.
Yeah, I think these numbers are accounting for a 5 day total, but regardless, it people like Mario.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mario's one of the most iconic I mean, is probably the most iconic game character.
Yeah, like
So, I mean,
I,
and
I,
again, everyone's played a Mario game. Like, even if you don't play video games, you played Mario Kart.
mm-hmm. Yes, and I think this movie kind of rides the line of being a movie that is clearly for kids, but also has a lot of stuff for adults to latch onto. Like, I'm not going to get into a full review, but like the story is very simple, but it's a lot of fun. It has a lot of like references, like a lot of deep cut references for people, like older people in the audience, but just a lot of like pretty colors and a lot of fun characters doing a lot of fun stuff. Like all the voice acting is really really good overall. Like Chris Pratt honestly has really surprised me for how actually thought he was as Mario. Jack Black was amazing as Bowser.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah. Like overall, it was like about as good as you'd expect a first Mario movie to be. Like there were some things here and there I would have done a little differently, but like I wasn't expecting more than I got. I was honestly expecting less, but it gave me a little more.
Hmm,
But yeah, the fact that Mario is one of the most recognizable entities on the planet, like
definitely.
why not make $378 million? And
Let's.
it's already the highest grossing. Uh, it's already the highest grossing movie of the year. I think I think total because I think it just passed up Ant Man. I think that was previously the highest grossing movie of the year so far. Yeah, because
Wild.
that was like
Yeah, I guess so.
430, and it like just passed that. Or is
Wow.
about to. It's domestically is definitely already the highest grossing movie of the year
Right.
domestically.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I guess it kind of makes sense because a lot of movies that have come out this year, even the ones that have started kind of big, have kind of pretty quickly died down. So,
Yeah, like a lot of movies are doing like the best in their category. Like Creed was the highest opening of any Creed movie. John Wick was the highest of any John Wick movie.
right.
Um, there were a couple of others that were like it's the biggest of any of its franchise or its tier.
Hmm.
This was the best of any animated thing, whereas Ant Man was technically the best Ant Man. That's not saying a lot.
Well, I mean, but again, the bar is still, it's still Ant Man. I mean,
Yeah, it's actually going to end up tracking way below the original Ant Man, kind of for good
oof.
reason. I don't love the movie. Like I had a lot more fun watching Mario than I did that movie. Like, it's very very funny to me how every single time a like decent video game thing comes out, people are like, "This thing finally broke the video game curse." Sonic, which is a fine movie, broke the video game curse. Sonic 2 broke the video game curse.
I was say
The
twice.
Last of Us broke the video game curse. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
TV show. Like,
it still counts in these days.
but then
The
stuff like
Witcher, or like,
yeah, then
all
you have stuff
these,
like Mortal
yeah.
Kombat, which came out a couple years ago, which was not that great.
Oh
It's fine,
yeah, I
but it
forgot.
wasn't like
That was even as someone who has played and enjoys Mortal Kombat the games, the movie was kind of just
Yeah.
like it was alright.
But again, it's like now that Mario has broken the video game curse, what other Nintendo games would you want? Like, I thought Detective Pikachu broke the video game curse 4 years ago. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
I ain't gonna lie though. I'm kind of surprised they haven't done a Zelda game or a movie
I,
because that feels like something they would do a while
the
ago.
problem with that is yes, um, Zelda is probably their game series that has the most story. However, Link very specifically doesn't talk. So how are
Yes.
you gonna do like an actual like faithful Zelda movie where the main character doesn't speak unless you like actually write him as mute or something, which would I don't know, it might be a little
I mean, you could.
weird.
I mean, you could. I mean, you don't have to be mute per se, but you could like if you gave him like a companion or something. Like, I feel like you could, like like either like okay, maybe not Navi, that'd be annoying,
No.
but like yeah, like I don't know, like, but no, I feel like you could make it work because it's kind of like I mean, there have been characters, and I know it's not the same, but there have been characters where it's like other people around them can kind of do the dialogue you need, and even in
Mm,
the games, like yes, you say things, but like other people, like you can really, I think you can if it's gonna be hard to do. But I
yeah.
think you could really do that, and again, I think that'd be easier to do probably with an animated movie versus like live action because
Mm,
live action that would take a lot of like
no. Don't do
yeah,
live action. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like
you would
don't yeah
have to
like
like put in you would essentially have to try to make it your Lord of the Rings if you're gonna really do Zelda, and Nintendo doesn't want to
yeah.
do that.
No, and that's gonna be so like that's gonna be so expensive.
Yeah.
Like Hyrule Field alone is gonna be like
Yeah.
$100 million.
The
But I mean, no, but
another really kind of issue with Zelda is so one thing that this Mario movie like I think the thing that benefited this movie so well is that Mario throughout pretty much all of his appearances have been very consistent throughout all of them. Mario Party,
mm,
Kart, all of the games like he's looked relatively the same, like the world is
mm-mm.
relatively the same. Whereas Zelda, every single game is very different. So, like, do you remake Ocarina? Do you remake Breath of the Wild? Like, where do you is some kind of amalgamation?
I
How do
mean,
you do this?
that's a good point. I mean, you got whichever you got to pick like a set and go with it. You can't just be like, oh, we're gonna do every Zelda because like you said, like we can't. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way. Like the links don't even look the same, let alone
Yeah,
the worlds.
like,
So like, I mean, there's three Smash links, let alone like you know what I mean.
uh,
So it's like, there's a reason for that. I mean, I think if you were gonna make it, I would probably do like Twilight Princess personally,
mm,
but I think it kind of depends on one, if you're gonna animate, it's like what kind of animation style are you going for? Because I think that definitely would depend. Because if you're trying to make it more like animated to look more realistic, then yeah,
mm,
more like Breath of the Wild kind of stuff. But if you're trying to make it animated or like try to get that new like Into the Spider Verse kind of trend
ooh,
animated, then you got to go more like old school. But it kind of
yeah.
depends.
I think if Illumination were to be the ones to make it, I think Wind Waker would be the best one to do.
Right.
But that's probably the least recognizable Link in general.
Especially now, because now,
Yeah.
I mean, those games are a lot old. I mean, but then again, I mean, I don't know.
I, I wouldn't be surprised if there are discussions internally at Nintendo about how they could try to do it, but it's going to be a little ways off.
Yeah, no, I mean, as it should be. I feel like this is one of those things that if you can't do it perfect, don't do it, period.
Yeah, and if, considering just how long it took Nintendo to actually pull the trigger on making this movie, they announced it in like 2017 that they were maybe doing it, and then it came out in like, what that 6 years later.
They announced that in
I
2017?
think so. I think I remember
I do
them.
not remember that at
I think
all.
Illumination was like actually finally attached to it in 2019 or 2020, but they've been kicking around the idea of a Mario movie for years now. Yeah. So they're
Dude.
gonna take their time with any future. Like they're not gonna MCU or 4 movies a year building to like a Smash universe thing. They're not gonna do that. At least not anytime
Mm.
soon.
That would be epic
It,
though.
it,
Like
it would be, but
like we get like a Metroid movie, and then we
I would
get
love a
like
Metroid movie. I would
that's what
love
I was
that.
thinking. Like that, I feel like that they could. That's one of those movies that feels like they could very easily like make it, but they could also very easily fumble that because it feels like something that's been it's similar to other things that have been done, and it
Mm,
feels very easy to be like, oh, I know what to do, and then they completely scrap everything from the source material.
yeah. Also, the one time you had Samus really speak in a game, people didn't really like that. That was partly due that the writing was bad, but but like, you know, if you're gonna have this like, because part of the charm of of Metroid is the atmosphere, just like being in that world, basically no talking throughout the entire thing, just going exploring, having just stuff jump out. So like you could kind of do a thriller action movie type thing, but I don't know like how much you would want Samus to actually
Mm-hmm.
talk. That's kind of a problem with a lot of the Nintendo
Nintendo
games. They have
games,
pretty much all of them have silent protagonists.
pretty much. Yo, I just got an idea.
Hmm?
Like, what if they met? Like, what if there was a movie kind of like Metroid Prime, like first person? Like,
I'd be into it.
that would be. That's what I'm saying. Like, would that be insane? Like, you could like, you just watch, and then you like hear something, and then you just the camera totally pans, and then there's just oh snap,
Right.
like oh.
So what? I Something that kind of bugs me about those games is the fact that in those games when you roll into the morph ball, you like go out into third person, and
Mm-hmm,
like you go into the morph ball and you rolling in third person, and then you like have to do like a
mm-hmm.
stand up animation to go back and that might look a little awkward in a movie,
Yes.
maybe.
Well, my thing is, how do you do first person in like the morph ball though? Because you're rolling, you can't like. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like
that's there's no better way to do it, but like it's still a little jarring actually playing it. Like,
yeah.
but but yeah, a Metroid movie would be something I really want to happen. However, it is nowhere near a surefire bet as Mario or Zelda is. Like Mario was the easiest
Yeah,
billion you'll
oh,
ever make.
easy.
Like,
Well, it's Mario. I mean, it's already again, it's the most recognizable game character probably in existence.
mm-hmm. Like I would honestly put him on the same pantheon as like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny as far as like recognizable characters.
Yeah,
Like Pikachu as like him might be the two video
yeah.
game guys.
I would say Mario is to video games as Mickey Mouse is to cartoons.
Yes.
So like definitely.
Yeah. And like, people know Link, people know these other characters, but people even know Sonic, but these movies, even if they made a banger Sonic animated movie that was super faithful to the games and just like was essentially a game but in animation, I don't
Mhm.
think that's making a billion. I don't think that's making nearly as much as Mario.
Yeah, because no, well, again, Mario's audience is like the gap between Mario and the next best thing is vast.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Mario was definitely the slam dunk pick.
Right. And the fact that like this movie is as good as it is not perfect or anything, but it is still a very solid movie. If it were bad, if it were just a terrible garbage movie that's just like clearly a cash in, clearly just not faithful at all to the game, clearly just fart jokes and just random stuff. Which is like there's none of that typically, but there's some random illumination flare in there that kind of bugged me. But as far as like the overall movie, it was very well. It was a very well done Mario movie. So, if it weren't that, I don't think it would do nearly as well. But because it is what it is, it's gonna make them a lot of money. Yeah.
Definitely, as it should. And again, they do this, they're probably going to make a couple more, which
Mm-hmm.
is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, think about it. What if we get spin-offs? What if we get a Luigi's Mansion? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. Yes, please. Yes.
right?
Donkey
Like,
Kong should have his own movie. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Imagine these, like, what could come? We could get a gaming cinematic. Like, what if there's a Mario cinematic universe? I mean,
Mm,
that maybe not enough for Super Smash, but like just for Mario, because Mario's got enough games
yeah,
by himself by far. You
yeah.
can just make Mario game
Like I
movies.
could easily see a thing where this movie had a pretty significant Mario Kart sequence in it, which
Mm-hmm.
actually felt like very well done, like not forced at all. It felt natural to the story. I could easily see a thing where the next movie has like a thing where they have to play tennis together or something, and the next one has a thing where
Mm.
it's like there's a big like Mario Party sequence, or you could
Yeah, dude, Mario Party. Yes. No, Mario Party as a movie idea would be a good one, I think.
right. Like I
Or
don't
just
know exactly how they do it, but it just I don't know Mario or like some somebody invites Mario, Peach, and the others to somewhere to like to do a party. It ends up being Bowser, and he's like, if you can beat me in this game, then I'll blah blah, whatever. Like,
yeah, or like they can make that a segment, and then after a couple more movies, what if they bring back Sonic and like make it? Then
no,
they get the Olympic Games or something. Like I don't know, man. Like this, like there are nerd possibilities
there
here.
are yeah, yeah,
We are. I know it's not this. I know it's not the same animation, but I mean, they could easily move that Sonic over
mm-hmm.
to fit.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, I'm curious about what your overall thoughts of it on it when you actually see it. But
Hmm.
I thought it was pretty solid. Um, let's see. Do you want to talk about Shazam or do you want to go on to Star Wars stuff?
Um, let's do Star Wars first.
Okay. So Star Wars Celebration happened recently.
Yes, it
Um,
did.
there's there's a lot of info here.
Yeah. Yep.
Starting with apparently Daisy Ridley is coming back to star in a new movie set
Yeah.
15 years after Episode 9. We don't know much
Redemption.
outside of that, but yeah, that's what's happening.
Chance for redemption. See, watch her be like the Luke Skywalker figure that Mark Hamill should have been the first time, and everyone's like, "No, you don't get that. You don't deserve it."
It's interesting that it's set 15 years into the future, but it's only coming out like
Hmm.
6 years after that movie franchise ended because they're targeting 25, 26 with this movie. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like not even close. Like
Also, she's not gonna look that much
no,
older
she's like
at all.
29 now. I think like she's not that
Yeah,
old.
and she's an actress, so like good genetics. So she's not just gonna look old. I mean, like she's gonna look the same.
Yeah, let me double check here.
Yeah, she's like 20s. I'm almost certain.
She's 31, but still, like
Really? That's kind of shocking.
right, like you. But regardless, she's not gonna look 15 years older until 30
She's
years
gonna
from
look
now.
mid. You think she's gonna look mid 40s?
I don't know.
No chance. I mean, unless she does some serious method acting, I severely doubt it.
like obviously makeup or CG, whatever. But
Well,
it's
yeah, but like, still,
like
come on, like, no one's gonna believe that.
15 years is an appropriate time for like her to start back up like a new Jedi Order. I would like for Finn to be involved somehow because in the Lego Holiday Special it was
Oh,
revealed that he was at least force sensitive. And, like actually had a lightsaber.
I mean, I don't know. From what we've heard from John Boyega, I think he's dying with Star
That's
Wars.
true, but if they gave him a script that actually was good, well, actually did his character right, maybe
Yeah.
you know
But that's the thing. What is his character? We don't even know. He doesn't even know. Like,
it was almost something a couple of times, and then it stopped being something.
but yeah, but like it was almost different things in different movies.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like the almost something in seven was not the almost something in eight, and the nine just wasn't anything. So it
I
was
was
just like
nothing.
I don't know. It's fine,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
whatever. Yeah,
But
I have a strong feeling. Uh, what's the name? Ben Solo was going to be either a Force ghost or some kind of
oh, absolutely, yeah.
what like dyad like vision thing with Ray, sort of some force thing. Their
That
souls are
was
fused
still
or
a
something. I don't
that
know.
was still a cool concept. They just kind of fumbled that. Like, especially
Correct.
if they had been siblings, that would have made way more sense.
Yeah, or cousins at least, or born at the same time or
Somehow
something.
related. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't
wouldn't
know. Who
like
cares?
the concept of like this super powerful dark side, the super powerful light side user, like born at the exact same time in different like parts of the galaxy that are like related but don't even know it until they like finally meet up and like oh like who were you? Like it's like I've known you my whole life. I don't actually this first time like that is an interesting concept that I wish they had thought of 2 movies before it happened.
I bet they did too. I
Yeah,
bet they did too.
like
They're like, dang it, we should have thought of
the whole
that.
movie is full of like kind of interesting ideas that like you're so far in. If you had built these up at all, it would
Yeah.
have been maybe something. But the
Well,
fact
it's
that
like
ugh.
Well, it's like even Finn like deciding halfway through the last movie, I'm gonna be a freedom fighter for other like stormtroopers. I'm like, this would have been a good idea 2 movies ago.
Yeah,
But like now it's like, bro, we got 20 minutes left in the trilogy. It's too late to be starting new stuff.
yep.
Like, it's like if Han Solo was like, you know what? Maybe I won't be a smuggler. Maybe I'll be a good guy, like halfway through Return of the Jedi. It's like, bro, you were just a little late for that.
Hmm.
Like, we're kind of past that, man. You kind of missed the boat, but
Yeah,
I don't know. But anyway,
whatever.
Daisy Ridley getting a chance to redeem herself. Because again, I don't think it's her fault. I think she did a
No.
good job, and I like the actress. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do with what she was given. So
Mm. Yeah, like she was never my least favorite part of the movies. Like
no,
they didn't give her a lot to actually do, but she like what she was given, what she did do, I generally liked. So giving her like, you know, her own giving her another chance to be in the spotlight is not a bad idea. And just I'm never gonna say no to stuff post episode 9 because like uh, considering just how unsatisfying that ending was, I want more to try to, you know, make
trying to
things better.
soften the blow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's at least a couple years off. So probably, if not next Star Wars Celebration, then the one after, we're gonna see something from that. But yeah. Sticking with movies, Dave Filoni is apparently going to be making a climactic Mandoverse movie that's going
Yeah,
to tie in everything from Clone Wars, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, whatever else happens between now and that movie, which is apparently like 6 to 7 years away. But so yeah, sure, why not?
yeah. I mean, again, I go back to Dave Filoni is, he's basically the godfather of Star Wars now, as far as I'm concerned. So, sure. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I'm for it.
yeah, I will say having a movie where a 7 season show followed by a 5 season show followed by a 5 season show followed by a 2 season show followed by another season show, just that's so much content. Followed by probably some graphic novels I haven't heard of. Like there's just so much stuff. Like will the Thrawn stuff be canon? I don't know. It's like like
I mean,
all of that
might as
stuff.
well be.
Like you got to watch Clone Wars and Rebels and Ahsoka and Mando
Yep.
and Boba Fett
Yep.
and something like
Yep.
just.
And don't forget, you got to see Bad
No,
Batch
you
and
don't.
Tales of
No,
the
you don't.
Jedi. And, like, I
Tales of
mean,
the Jedi, sure. We don't watch Batman. You don't have to.
I mean, okay. Like, there's gonna be that one thing in Bad Batch where it's just like, wow, that 2 seasons was worth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, is there really? Probably not. But like,
No.
still, like,
Like they've
no,
already confirmed the next season coming out next year will be the last one, which I'm okay
yeah,
with. Like
yeah. I
this
was kind of
season was
okay with
hard to
this
get
one.
through.
That was kind of my thing. I was
Oh my
like,
god.
they could have. It's just hard. It's like I. The thing that bothers me about Bad Batch is I don't like the characters, and you can't really write around it if you don't like the central characters. Like you can't like.
For me, it's not so much not liking the characters. I just don't like what they do. Every single episode
Yeah,
feels
I
the
guess that's
same.
true.
Like
Yeah,
every single scenario they get in is solved the same way. Every single like the characters are fine, but they like there's never really
It's,
any real conflict outside of the last episode of any given season. It's just.
yeah, it's like every like fourth episode is relevant,
Did
and
you
the
watch
rest
this
of them
last
aren't.
season?
Oh no, I
No.
just
Okay.
I can't. Like I tried, I couldn't. I just because like again, the problem with the first season was very blatantly repeated this season. It was just kind of like
Yep.
it was like wake me up when a good episode airs. And it's
Right.
like every fifth episode, I'm like, okay, cool. Like that was pretty much how you had to watch it. It was kind of like like I would go on Star Wars Reddit and I'm like, was this episode noteworthy? No? Okay,
No.
guess we'll wait till next week.
Like
And
the
then eventually, oh hey, this happened.
the most
Watch an episode.
fun.
It's like you don't even need to like watch the other stuff because
Uh,
everything else like you can piece together what you missed. It's not anything
right.
important. It's just like
The
whatever.
most fun me and my roommate had watching the show was every single episode. We were like, okay, at what timestamp during this episode will they have to either scale a tall building or descend a large crevice, and then and
And
then Wrecker
Wrecker
will go,
goes, oh
and then
man,
do it
like,
anyway.
I mean, my thing is, you would think at some point they would just get my man a jetpack because they
Right?
do
Like,
that every time. Like it's just,
like
and that's
there
kind of
was,
my thing with the characters. It's like I guess it's not all. It's just like first of all, I hate what they did with Echo because Echo's not even a character. He's not even
mm-hmm.
Echo, which is weird because it's
Yep.
like I you had a personality when you were a clone. What happened to you?
Right.
Like, and now it's just like whatever. I mean, he's kind of just not tech, but kind of like half what tech does.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter's like Hunter's the character they tried to make like he's cool and he does cool stuff, but it's like I feel like if it was just him, I'd like it more.
Like I think this show essentially it should have been like it essentially should have been about completely different scenarios. It essentially should have the show should have been about Rex and about these other
Yes.
clones that didn't follow the order. They are the bad batch. Like they are the ones that didn't
Yes.
like either were defective or didn't follow the order for one reason or the other, and they broke away from the Empire, and they're like essentially helping start the rebellion. Like,
That would have been like that, and that's kind of what I was saying. It's like, yeah, you take Rex, you find other clones, and like, oh man, Rex and Cody had this rivalry because they used to be boys, and like,
mm,
like as other clones start to pick up, like, yeah, man, this is stupid. Why are we doing it? And like, they start, they build their own. And then you have this ultimate clone versus clone civil war, which A leads to all the clones being wiped out in the first place,
yeah,
which is why we don't see them. But B, it culminates with it. Then Darth Vader showed up. It's like, oh crap!
right.
And then things get emotional, and then Anakin kills them all. And
Mm,
well, not all of them, but most of them.
yeah,
And
like
then, yeah,
yeah,
I
because
don't know, but like it just that feels like something way more investing because it feels like we're not learning anything. Like
we're not.
we kind of learning about the Empire starting up and like eventually they got rid of clones, but yeah, we already knew that. But I want to see more of it. Like
Mm, yeah, like I am very happy that season 3 will be the last one. Like I think this show has it was an interesting enough concept that something could have been built from, but for some reason the writers just got stuck in this rut where it's like, okay, they're mercenaries now. 8 episodes in a row of them just doing mercenary stuff, and then the climax happened, and then season 2 starts. Oh, they're back to doing mercenary stuff for 8 episodes. Like what? And then off screen, like you don't care about spoilers. You care about
oh,
spoilers?
dude, no,
Off
no, it's
screen,
fine.
they magically decided that they're no longer going to work with Sid anymore, and then they're like, oh, I guess we're no longer mercenaries, so we're going to settle down on this one island, and then actually we're thrust back into it, and then the climax happens. It's like, it's like, so we just did the first season again, pretty much. Like the most interesting episodes of the show were the ones that focus on Crosshair, who was off doing his own
That
thing.
was kind of my thing too. It was like, why? Like I understand they had to build time against it, but yeah, like when Crosshair like kind of has his dynamic with Cody and all these things, it's like Yeah, it seems interesting. Maybe we should
Mm,
go with no, 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 no more
no,
of that. Okay,
no.
like
Literally, the
okay.
first chance the show has, they're like, "Oh yeah, Cody deserted. He's gone now. He's off doing his own thing. So we're not even gonna have any more interaction between the Bad Batch and Cody. We're just gonna
Which
he's
is
stuck.
so annoying because he was like a main staple for the trailer, and it's
Yep.
just like, dude,
It's
like
one
that's one of the
episode.
only clones. That's one of the only clones at this point that's still alive that were like, hey, this guy, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Like,
man. I just feel like there's so much wasted potential here. It's just like, dude, what are we?
yep.
I don't know. Like again, it's Dave Filoni, so I 99% of the things he does, I'm all for it. But yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
about this one.
You
This one
know,
might be a miss.
I'm sure season three will let because essentially like the season ended um, with Omega getting captured and going to get experimented on. Probably something to do with taking your DNA to restart some kind of dark cloning thing that'll lead into the cloning guy from Mandalorian. Do like just
Mm.
I'm sure it will somehow connect in a very very convoluted way, but
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 it's
yeah,
but it's also like
yeah.
I don't know. It's just I don't know, man. It's just it's hard because I know not every Clone Wars like arc is great, but like I'm going back through with my brother right now. We're just got on season 5, and
Mm.
dude, it's like peak, and I'm
Here's
just like,
here's the main difference between what's happening in Bad Batch and Clone Wars. So in the Bad Batch, the reason why you can't really, I personally feel you can't really get invested is because you don't really know what the overarching plot is. You know these characters you're following are mercenaries. You know like the Empire is starting, but like that doesn't really seem to impact what they're doing over here. Sometimes they intersect, but it's
right.
not like the overarching, medium
Yeah,
for
they're
the
kind of
show
just
to exist.
around.
Whereas in Clone Wars, every single thing these characters do somehow propels the war forward. Even if it's
Yeah.
just like occupying this one random planet, like some bureaucracy happening, like every single episode, every single arc, even if it's a boring droid one, is something that is
Oh,
happening to take
I'm skipping
information
that.
from
I'm
one place
sorry.
to another or like transport something. Like there's always something happening where you can at least more or less invest yourself in the greater world, the greater narrative the greater narrative of the war is happening, and here are the little like sequences of that happening. That's not the case with Bad Batch.
Yeah, it's like they're around the time you want to see stuff, and they're not doing anything near the stuff you actually want to see.
Yep.
And it was weird because they did that thing on Ryloff last season, and it was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually kind of what we want to see. And then they have stuff with Crosshair with the Empire. Oh, this is stuff we kind of want to see. And it's like, all right, let's go find a MacGuffin. And it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
why? Like this. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
it's a lot of episodes too. That's the
16
weird thing
episodes.
too,
Yeah.
which is weird because it's like, how are we gonna have like? It feels. I hate to say it. It feels like late seasons Young Justice. Like it's very like things are happening, but it's not the things that you care about right now. And it's
Right.
not that I think this is terrible. It's just I would really like this more if we focused on
Mm,
these things instead.
yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of the same issues I've had with Young Justice the last 2 seasons. It's
Yeah.
like I
It's
don't hate everything about this, but the fact that we're focusing on things that I'm not invested in makes me
right.
way less likely to care.
And I am always going to be a proponent for the weekly release structure. I think stuff like Succession, Mandalorian, like the Last of Us, Witcher, like I think whatever. Like there are actually Witcher didn't because that's Netflix, but there are
Oh, was
plenty of
like
shows like premiere shows that did like a week to week thing that kept people invested every single week to come back. There are some situations where I think just dumping it all at one time and just let people engage with it at their own pace is probably better for the entire experience. Young Justice, I think, would have been benefit, and also Bad Batch, because if you don't have to wait a week to come back and be disappointed again. It's like maybe they'll find the plot this time, and they don't. Oh, maybe this time, not really. Maybe this time, oh no, they didn't. Because yeah, like you said, just like with Young Justice, by the time we got to episode like 12, 13, I'm like, this has been like 3 months of nothing every single Wednesday for 3 months. We've sat down on this couch to watch this show, and I'm not necessarily feel like I'm wasted an afternoon, but like I could be watching better shows right now.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Well, not anything, but yeah.
Whereas if because they are 20 to 30 minute episodes, if they were just all at the same time, we could watch 2 or 3 at a time and probably get more out of it. But no.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't really know, man. It's one of those things where it's just like, hey, maybe it'll get better, and it's like, will it though? And you're just kind of like, eh.
I mean, you know, maybe they are kind of poised to have the last season be more of what you want, kind of by force, because they're no longer interacting with Sid. They actually have a goal. Like there are things with the team that are kind of shaken up. Like there is a way forward for the last season to be very strong, but probably not as strong as like any given Clone Wars season, unless they're just pull a miracle out of their hat. But yeah. That being said, Ahsoka looks pretty good.
Yeah, pretty excited for that.
Yeah. I like the idea of those people with like the proto orange lightsabers. Like I love those orange sabers. If ever I have a Star Wars game where you can customize your lightsaber color, the orange looks good.
Orange, yeah, it's just like, yeah, and it's like it's something new. It's an interesting thing to like. It's like, okay, let's learn more about this. So it's like, what's and it's like, it's always interesting when you take something familiar as an Ahsoka and then just go somewhere completely. We don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be one of those cases where, like, we learn a lot about things, and like some things from Legends are gonna be, oh yeah, this is canon now, or it's not, or this is just completely new, and we're just gonna go for it, and it's gonna be cool looking.
Yep. Admiral Thrawn, great. Still played by Lars Mikkelsen. His voice was perfect for that role. Like the little bit I've seen of him from Rebels is perfect. And are you caught up on Mandalorian?
Oh no, I'm not. But it's okay.
Okay,
it's okay.
He was teased a little bit in this last episode. He wasn't like shown.
Yeah.
He was like talked about.
Yeah,
So,
no, I heard. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, Thrawn's one of those characters that it's everyone's like, you bring it up, they're like, oh, and they're just like, I feel like this is a character that gets in there, and then you realize, oh,
right.
like, and then you're just
like
like,
even,
I get it.
Because my brother, he likes Star Wars, but he's not like in it like I am. Like while we were watching season 2, and Ahsoka and that lady Heather duel at the end, she was like, "Now where's Admiral Thrawn?" Even my brother was like, "Wait, is that who I think it is?" It's like, yeah. So you think it is? So yeah, that's. So yeah, I think that's coming in August. Yeah, August 2023. So.
Okay.
So yeah, we got Secret Invasion in June, and then taking like a little bit of a break after that, and then August. So yeah. And then the following August is Andor season 2. Which have you seen Andor season 1? Boy, get on it right now.
I'm sorry, I've been watching a lot of anime recently. I apologize.
Fullmetal Alchemist is great. I don't care. This is, I don't think this is better, but this is also very good. Yeah, Andor season 2 coming out next year. Andor season 1 is. I know you haven't seen it, but it is some of the best Star Wars content. Period. Like it is.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah. So I'm super excited for season 2. It's just like the Batman. I want it now. like I get when you're making, the best of your genre, you need to take your time. I get that, but like no, okay, fine. um, um, Star Wars Vision Season 2 is coming out on May 4th of this year, which is very cool. It's no longer just going to be anime, it's also going to be like other various just random studios, which I think is very cool. There's one
Yeah.
from Chicken Run, Wallace and Gromit
Oh.
people, like that old claymation style, like that. Yeah, that's
That's gonna be so weird.
right. So yeah, I I didn't love every episode of season one, but the ones that were really good, I really liked, and the ones that were just kind of weird were,
I mean, some
eh,
of them were like Star Wars, but like not really. Like the band episode definitely
I
didn't
don't
have to be a Star Wars thing. That was kind
know.
of weird.
That one with the
But then,
weird bunny girl. I don't know why she was a bunny girl.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't even know. Like, I guess it makes sense because it's like it's Star Wars. They're aliens, whatever. Like, we
Sure.
already have fish
Why did
people
it have
and
to be a bunny
squid
girl?
people, and I don't know.
um, but yeah, it's a nice little thing to have on Star Wars Day. So yeah, that's neat. I think the last major announcement was James Mangold is going to be making a movie set in the Old Republic, which is, or I think it's like old Republic, where essentially it's like the first, like, I don't remember if he said it was the first Jedi, but it's like early days of the Force existing.
Ooh,
So, and
all
James
right.
Mangold has made some good movies. He's a Logan guy.
Nice.
Yeah. So, like, clearly, I, because he's also making the new Indiana Jones movie, and for them to be like, yes, this guy is gonna be making this like super important origin, epic Star Wars thing. Maybe Indiana Jones is better than people give credit for. We'll see. um, so, but yeah, that's cool. And they also said they're going to continue making more Star Wars things because why wouldn't they? Essentially
Mhm.
spanning all known eras of Star Wars. Um, so yeah, I personally excited for anything that's post Episode 9. Like this Ray movie is a good start, but I want more stuff post that. I want more stuff in the distant past, older public stuff, etc. Um, but yeah, I think overall this was a pretty good lineup of cool new stuff from Star Wars Celebration. So yeah,
Yeah. Let's say Star Wars Celebration last couple years has not disappointed. So yeah, it's always good to get more things of just, and again, a lot of different avenues because like, oh, more Andor, more Visions, more like we're getting animated stuff, a bunch of live action stuff, movies. Like, granted, I'm still on the bandwagon of maybe we should chill out with movies for a while still,
I mean
but
they haven't had a movie since 2019, so
yeah, but I mean, you say 2019 like it was like, you know, 10 years ago. Like, I mean, and again, it is Star Wars. And I guess for the longest time, outside of Solo and Rogue One, whenever there was a Star Wars movie, it was like, stop everything. But
right.
like, I don't know. It's just, I guess for me, especially how like the last couple, the last trilogy kind of wasn't really amazing. I'm kind of more like, maybe we should kind of you know, use other things for Star Wars now and let
Mm-hmm.
other things be movies right now. But again, I ain't, I'm not, I'm not the one in charge. So
Yeah. Um, I think last up on the docket is you finally saw Shazam.
I did.
So let's talk about that. What are your thoughts?
It was okay. That's yeah. I mean,
Uh,
it was I okay. Here's my thing.
mm-hmm.
Good things I liked. I thought the effects for the most part, now the green screens were pretty bad, but
Yeah.
I thought the effects for the most part weren't that bad. I
Yeah.
thought the dragon
Look.
looked pretty cool. The creatures looked pretty cool. The
Mm-hmm.
fire the dragon did was really dope. And I thought a lot of that was pretty solid. I was like, okay, cool, this looks pretty good. I thought the whole the magic pen thing was cool. I could
Mm.
like hear them and write. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
And like how the paper would fold up was cool. Um, I like the family almost. Like
Uh huh.
it's weird because like I I know there's five of them, but I swear there's only three of them. Like you know what I mean? It's like I still don't know anything about Pedro except Pedro's not good at dodgeball. Like I just kind of felt like they didn't spend enough time because in the last movie the brothers were the only ones who really got any screen time,
Mm.
and in this movie it was kind of just like they act like you already knew what the other characters were like, but you kind of didn't.
Yeah. Like I liked Mary as a character, but never really got to know her. Like
Yeah,
little girl was just little girl.
yeah.
The other two, I don't even know the other two's name. Like
That's what I'm saying. I still don't. And like the parents were okay, but again, the parents were never really a focus. But I guess this time they weren't really either. But like,
mm,
I don't know. The characters felt very like there was a lot. Like their personalities didn't seem evident throughout either movie. And this one, I thought they were gonna okay, it's all about family. We're gonna talk about the characters, but like we kind of didn't. And I think that's kind of fair, but like I don't know. I just felt it's hard to root for everyone when you don't even know everyone.
mm-hmm. Right. And I didn't love Freddy in the last one. I thought he was kind of annoying, and
Mm.
he still is.
It was
I don't know.
it was. I mean,
I
I
liked
wouldn't say
him and Anthena together. Like I thought like they were cute,
yeah,
but like him, I don't know. I didn't really like any of his interactions with the wizard. It just
that wasn't really. I feel like they tried to make the wizard too funny and it didn't work.
yeah.
Because like I think he can be a character that makes one joke every now and again and it lands, but he was making a lot more jokes than I think a wizard should be,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that kind of bothered me. And also the whole Anthena thing, like I don't think she was a bad character, but I feel like it felt very like Disney Channel original movie where she just showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think you're cool for no reason, even though no one knows who I'm new, but I'm following you around. It's like, bro, like I know it was like I know and like it's a trope, but it was kind of like okay, obviously there's something up with this. Either she's evil or she's like something's wrong here, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like she wait, there's another sister. I was like, oh, I wonder who that could be. Like I just remember like doing that, and I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It felt very like one, it still makes no sense why like she looks nothing like the like. I mean, I know they all don't look like, but it was kind of like you could tell these people were from another world. She kind of just blended in,
Right.
and I guess that was part of the plan. But again, why is that the plan? Like, they didn't.
She's
There's no reason for her to go to school. Like she literally, like, I mean, they don't like they're magical beings. They can find if they know what town he's in, they can find Shazam in 10 minutes. They didn't have to
yeah.
go to school and find the kid who sat with them one time years ago and manipulate him to find it. It's like, bro, just blow up a bridge, you'll find them, or just find the bridge already blown up, and
Right.
you'll find them. And it's like,
So that that's kind of something I wanted to bring up. So I feel like superhero movies. I can't even think the last time this happened. I personally love when a superhero movie starts with just like a random C or B tier villain just causing a ruckus, and the hero
mm,
goes stop it. Like it's a nice 10-20 minute action beat for the beginning of the movie. It's a villain that won't really get like his own big movie, but you like that he's at least there. Um, you could do that to like set up other characters who are reacting to it. Something can happen that snowballs into the actual plot.
yeah,
Most superhero movies these days are just like disasters happening. Random bridge blew up for some reason. Just random things just kind of happening, and the superhero goes to stop it without much stakes. outside of if they don't save everybody, which they will, people might die. Like there wasn't any like it was just a scene to show. It was just a scene to show that they can save people, but also it wasn't even a thing like the Fantastic Four, the one from 2005, where like they actually caused the bridge to collapse. They didn't even do that. They showed up as it was falling and saved people, yet they were called the fiascos for not stopping the bridge from falling. That they didn't stop. I don't know. It was that whole thing is how the town
Yeah.
reacts to Shazam family is very weird.
I mean, you could argue that like that would happen in real life though, because people don't know what they want, and that would just blame you for just
I
existing.
guess,
But
but
also, I think not so much in this movie, but I think in the last movie, Billy specifically, like you could see him doing some stupid stuff and like helping, but also not
mm,
helping in a lot of cases. So like,
th- th-
I kind of see what they might have been going for, because again, they are just little kids with superpowers, so
yeah,
they're
but
probably not
do a
careful.
thing where like maybe even kind of like take a jab at Amanda Steele, where like you you have this random B-list Shazam villains. I don't know any other Shazam villains, but you have some weird Shazam villain like just blowing up stuff in town, and like as they're fighting him, they're causing way more damage than the villain actually would have done.
Yeah.
like
Imagine it being like, yo, they're fighting. It's like, oh yeah, take a piece of this. Grabs a guy's car. It's like, hey man, come on. He
right? Because
just
that
scar.
because that happens in
And he
everything.
like misses, and the car
Yeah,
blows up, and the guy just looks at him like,
that would have been cool, but that's just not what happened. And so another little like
that
bit
was
about
funny.
that the bridge scene. So I went into this movie with the hope of I'm gonna walk out of this movie thinking that movie wasn't that bad. You guys are just mean. It wasn't great, but it wasn't like terrible or whatever. It was like a pretty solid film. Something about him catching that car and saying, I saved you to this song. Wow, like like wow, and then saving that lady as I need a hero, you know,
Mhm.
flares up. Just something about them lampshading that scene just gave me bad vibes, and those vibes never stopped through the rest of the movie. It's like
That was pretty corny, but
that song shows up in a lot of movies. It's probably one of those movies that's very easy to license, and it is applicable to a lot of different situations. But like, it was so corny. The fact that he mentioned it like he did, like I don't know, it just I didn't love it, and then the rest of the movie didn't like get over that hump of like maybe it's actually not that bad. It would just kind of rode that line of like, is this actually bad? I don't know. you know, like I don't love any of the characters. I don't necessarily hate any of these characters. The villains aren't that interesting, but they don't suck. The CG is good, but the green screening is bad.
yeah.
The I don't know. Like I don't just every single thing was just kind of okay at best.
Yeah, it was just some random stuff. Like, yeah, I was still shocked that Lucy Liu was a character, like was like like a bad guy. I
hmm
just remember being like, "Hey, is that?" I was like, "Wait, really?"
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, okay." Like that seems out. Like it
Uh,
felt very out of nowhere, because it was kind of just like granted, I haven't seen her in anything lately, but it was just kind of like, I feel like you didn't need to do this
yeah.
role, but all
Helen
right.
Mirren definitely didn't need to be in this movie.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It's kind of just like, all right, wow, you guys wanted this, huh? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
like, all right.
I I had the most surreal deja vu during the climax of this movie. So during the climax of this movie, the main villain got this ultimate power and then
Mm-hmm.
summoned thousands of random monsters throughout the entire city. And
Mm-hmm.
then the main human characters in the van run over a monster, get out, and like, what is going on? And then they kind of help stop the monsters as the main guy who shoots lightning stops the villain. That verbatim happened during Black Adam. like when the van like hits that one chimera, it's like this is shot for shot the same as what happened in Black Adam.
Now that you say that, you have a very good point. Because it was even the same like van trope too. Like it was even just like we just hit him with a van. It was just like,
Yeah,
like
and like these random human characters are. I know they they don't have their powers at the moment, but like they technically are superheroes, but they're surviving way longer than other random civilians are. Like
oh yeah.
it was
Like I mean, nobody wants to see a child get mauled by a
no.
giant monster, but I mean,
I don't know. It also would have been fun having it be like Shazam, be like, I'll take out the main guys. I need all of you to keep the perimeter safe, or protect the citizens from these monsters,
yeah,
while they're all superheroes. But
yeah,
they
that would
didn't
have
even
been
really
better.
they didn't outside of the opening of the movie, they didn't really get to be superheroes for most of the movie. It was a
Yeah.
little.
But also, they kind of didn't really enjoy it. They didn't really want to be superheroes. It seemed like for a lot of it
But
too,
by
though,
the
which was
end, they
weird.
would, because character arcs. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, it was just kind of it was kind of yeah. I mean, the monsters. I will say,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the last movie. This movie wasted no time being like, yeah, this is gonna be like the villains are gonna be like extra for no reason.
Right. That opening scene
Like,
was dark. I don't. I. It was
yeah,
unsettling. I didn't really like
I mean,
it.
there were children in there, bro. I mean, that's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I'm just like, hey, yo, like, y'all didn't have to be
It's like.
like, they easily could have just walked in, taken it, walked right out.
Mm,
Nah, let's literally turn everyone in here into sand because we're evil. It
sure.
was like, you didn't have to prove you were that evil. We would have believed you had you just said it. Like,
uh.
and again, it's kind of like the last one. Because remember the last scene, he like gets the like seven. He gets the what is it? The
Seven
seven
deadly
deadly
sins.
sins, and literally, yeah, and he literally they eat the entire boardroom and throw one guy off a skyscraper. It was just
Yep.
like, bro, you did not have to be that evil right
Uh.
there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, again, it's really odd when you have these really like a really lighthearted, jokey kind of like heroes, and then the villains who were like over the top evil. And
Yeah.
it's just a weird contrast. Like I get they're trying to go for like this is the real world, jokes don't apply, but it's like, bro, you didn't have to like that was worse than that was some dark side stuff you just did. Like that was
Uh
terrible.
huh.
Like you did not have to be that dark right
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah. This movie did kind of have a tone issue. Like I don't. It,
yeah. And then we kind of like forget about it. That was my thing. We kind of
uh.
just act like that out because I remember as soon as that happened with the sand, I was like, all right, well, these people are irredeemable and need to be killed immediately. And then it was kind of like by the end, oh well, she's helping us, so she's. I'm like, no,
No.
she's a monster. Kill her immediately. Like
Right.
no. And then also, not trying to be mean. I know she wasn't directly a part of it, but the little sister also needs some. Like you I'm not saying you let that happen, but you can't let that happen. Like, come on,
You,
there's
yeah,
like you could have.
you let your sister talk. The guy who voices Batman from Brave and the Bold, by the way, was the principal. You let,
Oh
which
wow,
I clocked immediately. It's like that sounds familiar. I wonder if it's him. Anyway,
I
I had a
wonder.
couple like nerdy moments where that was. I wonder if that's anyway. We'll get to
Yeah,
that in a
and he
second.
just walked
Just
off the.
you let her
Like
walk off. Like what?
her power is literally to change. She could have just made the building sideways. Like
uh-huh.
there were so many ways she could have not let that happen.
Like
Also, super unnecessary dark kill. Like
yep.
that was like
I
again.
love hearing
I
them
understand.
splat. Like why would you say that?
Like that was so over the top. I was like, you are not this man. Like, tell me it's your woman. Like, you are not this evil. Stand down. Like, first of all, who's that evil? Like, that
Right.
is like that's something the Joker would say. Like, no one's that evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good lord. And it was just kind of like, and then like you just gotta let it happen. And after that, I'm like, nah, all y'all are dead now. Like, I don't care. Like,
Uh,
there's no redeeming that. That's like the most horrible thing. And it was just like, and then and the monsters too. And it was just like, dude, y'all are like,
right.
I'm not gonna lie. It's weird because just like in the last movie, the villain seemed way more like way too evil for the character. Because this like I feel like this movie's not trying to take itself seriously, except when the villain does something, then it takes itself way too serious. It's like trying to overcorrect, and it
Hmm.
doesn't work. And it's just
Yeah.
like, bro, well, you come on, like you can't,
Mm.
that was awful.
Especially, and I think my number one issue with this movie is I think Zachary Levi. I I don't know where, like, I don't know what he was directed to do in this movie, but whatever he was told to do, he he wasn't. So let me back up. The idea is Billy, who is an aging teenager, is in the body of a superhero, and he should act like that. It worked
Yeah,
well enough in the first movie because he was like 15. He's super excited about being a superhero. Like that makes sense. But here, Billy's 18, or he's about to be 18, and the actor is in his early 20s, so he's already doesn't really look like a kid anymore. But then Zachary Levi, he acts like a 12-year-old. Like he acts nothing like Billy. It's
yeah.
weird.
I mean, it's a little harder to tell because he's only Billy for like 10 minutes max the whole movie.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't really match what you would expect in a teen. Like, granted, Billy might not be like the average 18-year-old in terms of like, maturity, but it was kind of like, especially after all you've been through, it's like he probably wouldn't act like a kid in a candy store 24/7 again.
Hmm.
It just doesn't, yeah, and it didn't really match because even when he was like, in his normal form, he didn't have the same. Yeah, the actors felt very disjointed. I know it's hard doing that, but the other ones kind of added up.
Yeah, more so. It was kind of funny that Mary Marvel was just the same actress as I know, like the actress who played Mary was older, so they got away with it. But it's very funny. All the others got new forms, but she's just
Yeah,
the same.
completely new people. She's just, and I'm just like, all right, like it was one thing I didn't notice at first, and then I was like, wait, she didn't
Yeah.
change.
Oh, so one thing about I personally love the costumes from the first movie. I love the size of the lightning bolt. I thought the colors really pop. I like how the cape kind of like goes up a little over the back. I did not like the costumes at all in this movie. I thought
They felt way more bland.
yeah, like they have like this weird texture on it. The lightning bolt is smaller. The cape isn't as defined. Just I don't
the
know.
the
It's
basic capes. Like, I mean, I know it's not exactly the same, but like in the comics and like animation, like Cat Marvel has the like distinct like kind of half cape
yeah,
shorter,
I love that. It's over
which
one
is like
shoulder.
real.
Yeah,
It's really distinct and it gives him a thing. And here it was just like,
it's a cape.
yeah, just white cape, whatever. Like it felt very bland and kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but like less love was put into it. It feels like, which is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but then again, I kind of get it.
Mm. So the other like major like nerd out moment I had was when Billy like thinks he beat the dragon the first time. He's like, "You're welcome, citizens," and they're like, thank you, Mr. Miracle, or whatever. Thank you, Captain Marvel. Thank you, whoever." And he's like, "None of those are my name, but we'll keep workshopping that." The guy who says thanks, Captain Marvel, is wearing the same shirt that the kid from the Captain Marvel show from the '60s wore, and
No,
I was like, that's what he wore. That's cute, and it was actually the same actor who played that kid in the original show, from the '60s. Yeah,
really, that's insane,
and he was like
actually.
very old, but
Yeah, but I mean, still, I
I was
mean,
like, I wonder if that's the same guy. It's like it is. The
like
show only ran
you'd
one
be
season,
correct.
but
Yeah, but I mean, content, I mean, it still
yeah,
counts.
it's still cool to play this character and then 70 or however many years later be like, hey, do you want to be in the live action, big budget movie that you were like the original person who played that character on? Like sure, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, The Wonder Woman cameo was whatever. Like,
I mean,
I don't know why she didn't show up earlier because I feel like the magic disappearing and gods showing up should she should know about that, but whatever, it's fine.
yeah, I mean, my thing is, I mean, I thought it was weird to have her at all if she was just gonna show up for that. And
Mm,
I know it's a cameo, but like I was kind of hoping she was gonna like throw a punch. Like I'm not gonna lie, because I was just kind of like I was really I don't know. It felt like something was missing, and you were kind of hoping in the back of your mind when the
mm,
portal will go down, and then it was just like, what are we gonna do? And then Wonder Woman just clocks the mess out of the dragon or something, and you're
right?
just like, oh,
It's like
cool, good guys win.
if you have this grand DC universe, it makes sense for when it's relevant for other characters just kind of pop in.
Yeah,
And
just
it's
show up and why not?
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and they kind of did like they did the joke with the whole like, oh, you didn't see the top of her head with like the dream thing
Mm-hmm.
earlier, which like I was about to be so pissed if that were like I was like, are you not seriously gonna do this in the
No.
whole movie, right? Like, and I know we saw her in the
Mm.
trailer, but it was still kind of like you didn't like. I feel like if you didn't see her in the trailer, I would have liked her cameo way more. Because if I didn't
Right.
expect it at all, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, like I was
But
kind of expecting her to show up at some point. I think it was rumored, and also just like she should. If it's called
well,
Fury of the Gods, I think
eh.
she should be there. Like she,
And it was one of the trailers, right? Like,
it was like
wasn't it or a
a
TV
TV
spot or
spot like
something?
a week before it
Something
came out.
before the movie came out
Yeah.
spoiled that she was in it, and it was just kind of like,
Okay.
okay, well, she's in it, so like, I expect you to do something. But it was like she was in it for about as long as the TV spot was, and it was just
Yeah.
kind of like, I mean, maybe she just wanted to wear the costume again before the universe gets rebooted. Like, I
Don't
get it,
blame
but
her, I
like,
guess.
no, I mean, the theme music is still
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
but
I hope they keep that around. Yeah. Um,
I just feel bad because it's like
eh,
that could have been something more, but it's
yeah.
okay.
I will say one thing that just was very distracting throughout the entire movie. The staff, the prop that was the staff, looked very fake.
Well, it looked weird. It looked like a half torch, half walking stick. Like when he said walking stick, I was like, yeah, I can see why you think that. It
Yeah.
doesn't look anything like a staff. It
Right.
looks weird
Like the
and
idea,
decrepit.
like what I assume is the idea is the staff, like essentially when it's like lit with that like blue magic, it's supposed to be like like a blue fire, like a blue magic ball inside of it. But when there's no magic, you can clearly see the light bulb that lights up in the prop. It's like, why would you? Why is it like that? It's clearly just a light that turns on. I know you don't have the biggest budget compared to other superhero movies, but like you could do a little better than that, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, this was definitely one of those movies where they kind of were like, ah, it'll be fine. Like this movie felt like the last paper you write before like summer. You know what I mean? It was kind
Right.
of like it's not going to be my best work, but I know I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to fail, so I'm
It's
just
like yeah, it's like
whatever. I reach my pace
there
limit.
were a couple of times during college where it's like I need to make a 60. No, there was one time in
Absolutely.
particular where I was like I just need 40 points on this thing. I could literally do half of it and pass.
Oh yeah. No, I 1000% noped out of my one of my final projects for one of my classes because I was like, all right, I
uh,
need a C, and I straight up didn't do my final project. My professor was like, hey, I saw you didn't submit. I was like, yeah,
do I
do what you
pass?
will. Like,
I pass, don't I?
she was like, with your grade right now, you only have your grade will drop to a da 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 da. It's like, are you? It's like, but you can make it up. I was like, you know what? I'm okay with the
It's
consequences.
enough.
And
It's fine.
I felt bad, but I also was like, I know I'm not going to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen. I don't miss school.
like, like I did it to the best of my ability, and currently my best is a 65. Whatever,
Yeah,
I'm
I
done.
mean, if
That's
you
all I
only need a
need.
40, a 65 is great. Like,
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. So that is kind of what this feels like. That's kind of how Warner Brothers seem to deal with this movie. It's like we're just gonna throw it out there in randomly a super busy March. That never happens. Like spoil every cool part in the trailers. Like give it almost
The
no
usual.
promotion. Like in the Super Bowl, you got a trailer for The Flash, which is coming out in June, but no trailer for this movie. It's coming out in March. Like, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like they also, if they had to choose one to advertise, they don't want to, like, they think Flash is their big money maker. And I mean, I hate to say it, but the last Shazam movie didn't do super well,
Yeah.
and this one's kind of doesn't really have a lot. It doesn't. There's not really a lot to like go from with this, and it's kind of just, I don't know. I mean, even the after credit scene felt very half-hearted. It was kind of just like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, you're gonna be there. I'm like, we know this ain't gonna happen,
No.
guys. Like, it's okay. Like, but
It is. It is kind of funny though that this movie is going to make less than Morbius.
that is rough because this movie's not as bad as Morbius. Like,
No,
again, like that's not fair. And I'm not gonna lie. If I was like Levi, I'd be upset too. But
but
I get it
it came
because
out
it's like,
a week before John Wick, which was a week before Dungeons and Dragons. It was a
yeah,
week before Mario. Like if at this point, if you're
yeah.
taking your kids to a movie, you're going to see Mario.
Yeah, it's kind of like they didn't really they didn't really have a good window. And again, I feel like I don't want to say it's intentional, but it kind of feels like they're kind of almost, it feels like intentionally screwing Shazam sometimes. But it's like you didn't like, this is not the first, like we've had two Shazam movies, and both times they've been like slotted in next to a bunch of crazy stuff. And it's like,
Hmm.
granted, not as bad as last time, but still.
I don't know. This almost feels like at least before. Yes, it was between two of the biggest, the two biggest Marvel movies of that year. But at least there wasn't anything, as far as I remember, like directly next to it. Like there was at least like a decent window of time between Captain Marvel and Endgame, but still, it was
Mm-hmm.
still not the best place to put that. And here, you can't really delay it because then it would be after Flash, which I don't. And then Blue Beetle was shortly after. So there's no real good place to put it because if
Mm-hmm.
you do any later, then you're running up against Guardians. It's just, man,
Right, and that's just not, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel a little bad. I think I don't think there's a universe where Shazam is like a household name where he is like anymore anyway because back in the 40s apparently Captain Marvel the character was actually outselling Superman comics so much to the point where
Really?
DC actually bought out Wiz Comics to like fold them in and make him less popular.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Imagine saying that now.
Hmm. like like it's an interesting concept but I just don't know if a movie like this is really like if that really works. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely one of those characters that it's hard to do because it's like, okay, Shazam is not a household name. It's not, he's gone through a couple name changes now. So it's like,
Hmm.
oh, Captain Marvel. No, not Captain Marvel. Oh, Shazam. Okay. Well, that too. And now it's like, oh, we're in the DC universe, but now the DC universe is falling apart, and it's probably not even going to be there. Okay, well, that's going against it. And you've got other movies coming out. Like, there's a lot of negative factors on. I don't think Shazam as a character is necessarily snake bitten, but it's like this version, unfortunately, is not going to get what it deserves in this current time. I think this came out just unfortunately, it just wasn't going to work with
Hmm.
how it happened. I think if they had a, first of all, I feel like I don't understand why they didn't make Shazam part of the Justice League. First of all, like especially
Right.
with how the New 52 was doing it, it made more sense.
They it
And
should have had 7 people regardless, but he could have been on there. Like you don't have
Well,
Superman, but you have someone who kind of likes Superman. You know, at least at first. You know.
or at least, yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It would have made more sense because, like, I think it would have. I mean, it adds to like the New 52 was also doing that. 'Cause Shazam was, one of the core members in that, and that was kind of. I mean, whether they say it or not, the like Snyderverse was kind of New 52 in it with like Dark Superman and all this
Dark
stuff.
Side
So
being a
like,
super early threat. Like,
yeah, like like
mm-hmm.
and like and I feel like that because that stuff was not as super relevant before then, so it was kind of like okay, like even if this isn't your intention, like you're still leaning into it, you might as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have helped Shazam a lot more because again, I still can't believe we live in a world where Aquaman made all that money, and in my opinion, is a significantly worse movie than both Shazam movies. But it just
At least Aquaman looked pretty. Like the CG was pretty
I
good.
mean, yeah, but the movie is so boring.
Yes.
They don't do anything. Like they walk around the desert for no reason.
Yeah.
And then they go to the city and get attacked for no reason. And then they come back to water and fight because
it
reasons.
it
Like,
is it is one of those movies where it's a lot of this happened and then this happened and then this happened, not this happened and that caused this, and because of that this happened. Like it's not that.
yeah,
These things
nothing's
happen
connected.
until the end.
No, I mean, literally the only thing that mattered that happened in the movie is, oh, you're half Atlantean. Here, let me train you how to be Atlantean. Okay, cool. Go fight. Like there was no like
Mm-hmm.
reason for all this jumping around and let's go here, and making this complicated lore. It's just like just have them fight. Like we're not here for this. Like it's
Yeah.
fine, but I don't know. But again, I go back to when a movie comes out is very important because when Aquaman was the only movie out pretty much from that time, it made money because there was nothing else to see. So it's just
Still
like,
weird that it came out the same month as Bumblebee and Into the Spider Verse. Yet people latched on to Aquaman of all things.
yeah, because I mean, I hate to say it, but even though both of those movies are better, it's like, well, Into the Spider Verse is animated, so even though the movie's amazing, people don't care.
Yeah.
And Bumblebee is like what the sixth Transformer
Six.
movie at
Yeah,
that
people had
time.
Transformers fatigue. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of just like another Transformers movie or a kids movie, quote unquote.
Uh,
But
PG
so it's
13.
kind
Come
of
on,
just,
guys.
dude. I mean, look, they'll never learn. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even this new one, man. Like they should know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think Shazam could have had a better shot. But at the same time, I think that with the universe basically packing up, I think it's kind of the writing was on the wall anyway. And you can kind of tell. I think they even knew it writing the movie
Mm-hmm.
because, like, I mean, they set it up, but not really.
Even to the point where like the after credit scene that had Siobhan in it again, like it's just the same after credit scene as the first movie as like a joke. It's like you're never getting out of that cell, but what like but why? Why would you do that? Why would you not just have the after credit scene of the first movie just be the second movie? Like why not have Mr. Mind, the weird caterpillar guy? Why just have him be the villain? It's so weird.
No idea.
Whatever. It's not the worst thing ever. It's definitely not good. I would say like if people, again, Twitter can't just you can't just be okay. You have to be. It's the best movie since blah blah blah, or it's the worst thing since blah blah blah. Like no, it can be fine. It can be a 6. This is a 6. It's fine. Whatever. I liked Black Adam more somehow, but like it's not bad. Like I never thought I'd say that. Going like I actually liked Black Adam more than equal to Shazam.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I am kind of glad though that that Shazam isn't fighting Black Adam because like as I don't know I just feel like it wouldn't. I don't know, that just doesn't feel right. After this movie, doesn't really feel right for Zachary Levi Shazam to fight that Black Adam.
Yeah, it doesn't. But like, I mean, how are you gonna have Shazam and Black Adam and then not even
Right.
interact, let
Oh,
alone
one
fight?
more thing about this movie. I feel like this movie kind of there are certain scenes from this movie that happen where I'm like, I've seen that done better in other stuff. Like, we after three, Shazam universe, people movies, we finally had a scene where like, he's like up, like either underneath or near a big villain, yells Shazam, a lightning bolt comes down and like actually obliterates the villain. That hadn't happened until this movie, and the moment was just like Shazam. It was like it didn't. The movie didn't give it time to linger. It didn't like the impact wasn't really there. It just kind of happened. Whereas I love those scenes so much. When like the lightning bolt because like the idea is that lightning bolt is just there to transform him, but like it is still lightning. Like it is still like this
Yeah.
big powerful burst of
Right, you
magic
could
energy.
still get hit by it,
Yeah,
very much so. It's like it's been used in animation quite a few times as
yeah.
like a
Brave and the
weapon.
Bold, they use it to kill Starro. Obviously, Shazam used it
Yeah.
against Superman and Unlimited. Like
Oh yeah.
it's it's a
And it's
thing.
magic, so it works. Like,
Sure.
yeah, like I mean, I guess I don't know.
But it just the impact just wasn't there. And there are a couple other things like that I can't think of right now. I just remember being like, I've seen similar things, even in Black Adam, where it's like I've kind of seen this before, but better. I don't know. Again, not done badly, just not as well as I would have liked it to be. But whatever. Like I said, 6 out of 10. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
can't strongly recommend it, but if you're bored and just want something, it's there.
yeah. Not bad, but definitely forgettable.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring up or discuss?
Yeah, actually, I got a
Oh,
couple things.
okay.
So one, I heard that the Suicide Squad game was delayed again.
Into February of next year.
Yeah,
Ooh, boy.
yeah. I mean, they
Oh,
got the big
man.
backup. That is
It was
like,
supposed to come out in early 2021.
yep.
Sorry, it was supposed to come out late 2021, and then it got delayed into September. And Gotham Knights was 2021, and then Gotham Knights got delayed to 22. Then it got delayed 23, and then it got delayed again to September 23, and now it's coming out a whole year from now.
That's my thing. It's like you drop a trailer, and then like a few months later, yeah, we're waiting a whole another year. It's
Right.
like that red flag, sir. Like, granted, I mean, my thing for this is everyone, like, what I've been hearing and everybody saying is they like what they see with the cutscenes and the storyline, and everyone hates what they see from the gameplay.
Right.
And it's kind of like, look, I and I agree with them because again, it looks like Overwatch for some reason, and
Mm-hmm.
like, but the storyline does look interesting, and I like the designs for all the Justice League members and all the characters look great and all this stuff, but it's like, what kind? This game does not look fun to play at
No.
all.
And
And
I
go ahead.
think so. I don't necessarily agree that the story looks good. I never thought Kill the Justice League was a good concept for a Suicide Squad game, especially the first time the Justice League is being introduced into this universe. Especially when Kill the Just like the main gameplay is just shooting weird like blobs and robots, and like I don't want to be doing that as it's just like I want to be doing a heist. I want to be stealing something, or just like doing like random missions for Waller and not go to Metropolis and try not to die fighting Green Lantern. That was never on my radar for what a Suicide Squad should be doing, but okay.
Here we are
Yeah.
somehow.
And also just the very idea that every single character's main weapon is a gun. Are you
No,
kidding? Captain
like,
Boomerang has a
tell.
gun.
Okay, my thing is, how you gonna tell me King Shark needs a gun? Like, what? Like, no, you're good. Like, that's like Superman have like, not okay, no, you're not Superman, but like, yeah,
Aquaman
like
doesn't need
that's
a
like,
gun. Like,
no, like, I mean, my thing is, if you're 12 feet tall basically indestructible and eat people, you don't need a gun.
Mm-hmm.
That feels very unnecessary and overkill.
Right. And like I get it, he's the big bruiser type, so like, he. But if you're honestly, I think if Deadshot wasn't on the team, I'd be more or less okay with other people using guns. But because Deadshot is on the team and like he's the guy who uses it's his whole thing, he can
That's
only
his
use
thing.
guns. Maybe he has some melee attacks, but like he uses guns. You don't have Harley also have a pistol, and Boomerang have a gun, and King Shark have a chain gun, and also there's only 4 characters. So you're telling me that this is a Suicide Squad video game where you're only gonna have 4 characters, and maybe like super early on during like the opening cutscene there'll be a 5th guy and he dies instantly or whatever. But that's not gonna be fun. Like you're gonna be expecting that. Like the one guy who's not in any of the gameplay trailers we've seen so far. Oh, he's gonna like. There's no fun way to kill them off periodically. You like Suicide Squad should do. There's only 4 of them. Especially if you're supposed to be invested, like upgrading them through battle passes.
Oh, battle pass. God. Like
Oh, it's
that
all
word
cosmetic. I don't
alone,
believe you.
like that word alone makes any game just I don't even want to touch it. Like I'm sorry. Like that's
Uh huh.
just
Like,
how dare you?
uh,
Like
like, even if it is all cosmetic, I still don't want that near me. I don't. I want to unlock that stuff as I play the game. But so the thing is, like, yes, you can delay it, a year, 3 years, however long you need it. But essentially, my problem is the only way to make this game good would be to change functionally everything about it.
yeah, the actual gameplay needs a complete redesign, and
Gameplay
that's
needs to be
gonna take
changed.
more
Like,
than a
I,
year
I
probably.
have a feeling there's major issues with the story. I know Rocksteady is, pretty good at making stories, but I just don't see how they're going to introduce each of these characters and also make them. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know.
I
Again, just
mean,
to kill the Justice League idea isn't what I want.
yeah, I mean, I feel like they're just gonna lean off of the nostalgia factor for the Justice League while they're using the like most of the
I
OG
mean,
like
they have John Stewart,
shows.
so that's nice.
Right, which kind of makes me think they're gonna lose. Okay, if we use the Justice League most people this generation are used to,
Mm.
then we don't have to go into their because again, especially with it being Kevin Conroy Batman too,
Mm.
like you can kind of lean into like I don't know who do you know his voice in the other Justice League movie?
I
Is
don't.
it
I don't remember.
okay? I should look. I'll look into it.
I
But yeah, I mean they'll
yeah.
probably lean into that just because like oh yeah that way we don't have to explain as much because you already know these characters
Mm.
they're regular tropes of themselves we can just focus on the villains.
Yeah. So I have a feeling they're gonna take the next 9 or so months to like completely rework move sets, rework abilities, rework enemy types, rework just because the graphics looked fine, if not a little like the game itself looked fine, but not a significant even like at all. Like it looked almost kind of worse than Arkham Knight did, which was on the PS4, and this is next gen only. So like you would think it would look
Yep.
significantly better, but that game is, I guess, too high of a bar to reach. um, so maybe obviously they'll touch up the graphics, but I don't. I just I don't know how this is gonna go.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about this. This seems a little. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Ever since this came out, this kind of felt like.
Mm.
I don't know. Like, seeing the gameplay just makes me just want to stay away entirely,
It
honestly.
also sucks how like they can't even rework it that much because as far as I know, this will be Kevin Conroy's last
Yeah.
performance as Batman. So you can't
Oh,
like
well, I mean, you can still rework the gameplay and work around that.
but you have to at least keep the concepts that would allow the voice lines that he recorded to exist in
Yeah,
a
that's
game.
true.
So,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a it's like I want to trust Rocksteady since they have in the past made 3 very good DC video games, but maybe they're only cut out to make Batman stuff. That's
I
fine.
mean,
They just got a little too ambitious for what they can do, and that's that's fine. But we'll we'll see how this turns out.
yeah, so let's figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I was right. It's Susan Eisenberg who does the DCAU Wonder Woman. So
Okay.
I guess
Is
that,
do you know
yeah.
if it's Tim Daly or George, whoever else for
I
Superman?
don't think Superman has said anything,
Huh.
so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think because I looked online, they didn't have. I mean, all they had for the Justice League was obviously Kevin Conroy and Susan. They didn't even have Flash on there, which I was
Huh.
like, okay, I know we heard him,
He's
so
kind of yeah. We'd have heard him, huh?
I don't know, but I don't think it was. Oh gosh,
Oh, Michael Rosen something.
yeah, Rosenbaum, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't
yeah, I
be
don't
surprised if
think
it's him
so.
than Phil Lamar as Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah,
oh
they,
well.
they probably got either Tim Daly or George Newbern. Like they usually are pretty good about.
Mm,
Yeah, if one doesn't do it, the other does usually.
yeah. Yeah. You said you had something else to bring up, or
Did I?
did you have a
Oh
few
no,
things?
no,
No.
no. I kind of like I thought about it. I was like, nah, it's okay.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So nothing else.
No,
Nope. Nope.
no. That's it.
All right. With that, we will see you all next time.
Take care, everyone.